So with the NHL's 2023-2024 season just a month over away, I decided to do a NHL tier list. So without further ado, let's get started. First off, we got the Anaheim Ducks. They're gonna be terrible. And so the Arizona Coyotes. Not for their roster, but the whole situation. The Ducks go down to Gibson has requested a trade, but after a bad season. And for reaching his last year of his deal, and you know what else is happening as well. So yeah, they're gonna be pretty terrible. So is the Arizona Coyotes. They do have young talent, but they're not ready to compete for the playoffs just yet. Maybe still tank for more draft picks? We'll see. Next is the Boston Bruins. Now, I don't know if I will put them as still a contender because of the retirements of Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci. The biggest question is going to be one thing. How they're going to do this season? They were a President's Trophy team that lost the first round. Maybe they battle for the playoffs. They're mostly in these two tiers, but I'm going to put them in here just because of the whole situation. Their centers are now Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle and Morgan Geeky. You are not going to have a Patrice Bergeron type player like Pavel Zacha. He's good, but is he Bergeron type? No. But he could be one. Let's see. And the goaltending situation. They are really tight against the Caspi, so we don't know what will happen in the latest Allmark. And with Jeremy Swain's aberration already settled, we don't know what's going to happen this season. They'll be a playoff contender if they can have a whole situation already prepared. Plus, the Lions division is going to be pretty tough, so they might be in a battle for the playoffs instead of becoming playoff contenders. Next up, Colorado. I say they'll be a playoff contender because of Mika Renton, Nate McKinnon, and Gail McCarr. No questions. It's just goaltending. Goalgetter is good, but is he good enough? Next up is Carolina. I say they're fit to be a Stanley Cup contender because of the roster they have. Aho, Shevchnikov coming back from an ACL injury. They have now Ferguson and Ante Ranta back. I thought they were going to cut ties with them since Kochekov is back. Last year proved that it wasn't that they were terrible against the Panthers. They just got goalied. Even their goalies were excellent. It's just they just lost to Sergei Bobrovsky. That's all. If they can have a well-used team, and Michael Bunyan can replace maybe Brad Patrice's helplessness, maybe the team can go to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since winning it in 2006, which was against the Edmonton Oilers, if my math's correct. Next up, the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm not going to say they're going to be in a draft, but maybe in the bad inconsistent range. They have Connor Bedard, and Taylor Hall could be a nice compliment. The question is going to be, they're not going to be bound for the playoffs, but when are they going to contend? Kane is likely gone. Tate is not coming back, and they have a Seth Jones contract that's still in their investments. So they're just going to be bad and inconsistent. They may be good, and then they'll just fall off the face of the earth. Next is Columbus. The only issue is going to be goaltending. Elvis Merzlikins still has that trauma of his friend Matt Kelvinist, which we all know what that firework accent. They may be contending, but I don't see them contending just yet. They're going to be the bad inconsistent range just because they make some good moves and brings using Parra. Problem, Parra has been bad defensively, and Stevenson will have just a 1 year wonder. Is it going to be 1 year? We don't know. Dallas. They're going to be in the playoff. They're playoff contending, alright, because of the youth of Jason Robinson and Rupe Hintz. Big question: Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin's contracts are almost in the books. They're not going to re-sign them if they have the cap space because they have the Consider. Joe Pavelski's coming back, and youth's coming in. They also have a North Shore defenseman Mio Heiskanen. So they'll still be playoff contenders, but Stanley Cup contenders, they need that extra oomph that they should have had against Vegas, but Jamie Benn decides to cross-check a player. That's still going to be Jamie Buss's head. Jamie Benn's head. New York Islanders. This one is pretty close, but I'm going to say battle for the playoffs. Just because they have Ilya Sorokin doesn't mean they're going to be playing at 10 and just flat. They have a ton of contracts that they have to figure out. They have Ilya Sorokin, who has an 8-year deal. Then you have guys like Matt Barzell's contract, which they had to sign because they had to choose between Barry Trotz or Matt Barzell. And with all these moves, their cap space is way over. Just 486,000 over. They have a ton of bad contracts. They have over 9 million for Barzell, over 8 million for Bo Horvat, and at least 7 mil, Rocklinson 6 mil, Pageau's 5 mil, and Palmeiras 5 mil. And they already extended Pierre Engvall for 3 years ago. Their defense is still pretty good. The only thing is Ron Mayfield's aging. So I don't know why in the world you would give him a $3.5 million deal for 7 years. Maybe a bold move. And you have still good tenors like Semyon Varlamov and Sorokin. It's just this contract they have. They have to make a move or two to get them over. So I'm not saying they're gonna be bad and consistent. They'll battle for the playoffs, but they'll may miss by like one win or something. It's just that. LA Kings. This one is a pretty interesting one. They have brought in Pierre-Luc Dubois, which should really, you know, improve their center. But that's not the only thing. Their goaltending is going to be hot garbage. I don't know if they're going to compete for the playoffs or a playoff contender because they're in their rebuilding stages pretty soon. Because Kopitar is still staying until 2020-2026. They have Fiala's contract and Dubois' contract for the long term. Trevor Moore's contract is still in the long term. They have Adrian Kempe still. The only thing they have to sign, Victor Arvidsson's in UFA, so they're probably not going to resign him. You also have some RFAs to sign, like Byfield, Brunstrom, Rizzo. And the defense, they only have two guys long term, Miles Anderson and Drew Doughty. And that Valstar Gravikov for 2 years. They'll make the playoffs or stuff, but I don't think they're going to be competing it. They're playoff contenders. The Wild. I think they'll battle for the playoffs just because of their situation. When they bought out Ryan Suter's contract and Zach Parise' contract, those penalties are going to come hitting hard. That made them lose Cam Fiala and had to force to trade him. They do have good pieces like Cam Fiala and Joel Anderson F, along with Matt Boldy. It's just the question is, how long is this going to take? Is this the right core to get them past the first round? Maybe make it to the conference finals. Is Marc-Andre Fleury a good backup? Is Phil Gustafson good? They're good, but not good enough. That's been the whole Wild motive. Close, but never close enough. That's been the motive. Montreal. That's just that team. They'll either go on a terrific cup finals run or they'll just fly consistent. They're not the terrible thing. Don't worry about that. They just have a goaltending to figure out. They'll be good, they'll be not good, they have good talent. It's just up and down. They're not in a terrible stage just yet, because if they are, they would be rebuilding. They're not rebuilding technically, they're just trying to build a youth. That's what bad consistent is, just building the youth. Terrible is just basically drafting, just basically shipping off every old core and bringing new core. The Devils, they're going to be in the playoff thing for sure. Re-signing Timo Meyer, re-signing Jesper Bratt is going to totally help to get back to the playoffs. Question, goaltending. Vitek Vanecek is the solution, but is he the long-term solution? We don't know. Is Dougie Hamilton the best defenseman on the team? Yes. Is re-signing Timo Meyer and Jesper Bratt going to work? Yes. Is Jack Hughes a good plan? Yes. Is Brain Power Toffoli going to help this young core? Yes. Is Andre Palat going to fall apart close to his end of his contract? Yes, because he's aging. The question is going to be, will goaltending hold them back? Is Vitek Vanecek going to be the real horse? That's the question. They're a playoff contender. It's just, are they there? The Rangers. They're a playoff contending team just because the situation is they brought in Blake Wheeler from the Jets after the Jets bought him out. They have a lot of long-term pieces, and they're running out of time. You cannot think that just Skirkin is going to be the key. You have to bring in players in. They're a cup contending team. Question: are they a cup contending team? They could compete for the Stanley Cup. They came close, but are they? Because of their youth and just sort of becoming hairless too long, I think I'll move them to here because of how they are. The Flyers, they're just gonna ship off everything. They shipped out Kevin Hayes and Ivan Provorov, and I think there's gonna be more moves during the trade deadline as well because they're just going to rebuilding stage. The only player signed long term is Joel Farabee. They still have some contracts that they have to sign, like Owen Tippett and Ryan Paling. Tippett had a okay season. He was the 20-goal scorer. And the defense is literally Travis Steinheim and the Rasmus Ristolainen deal. Yeah. And goaltending is still going to be a question because Cal Hart is definitely not staying with the team he's going to rebuild. So I think they'll still rebuild until they have a clear vision. Detroit. They're running battle for the playoffs. With the moves they made, bringing Shea Spare and then signing Dustin Hall, maybe will work, but I don't know. Pittsburgh, they're just going to be in the playoffs. Not because their streak's going to start a new one, it's because of bringing Eric Carlson is going to help them. They have a new core now. Crosby, Malkin, Chris Letang, and Eric Carlson is going to be the new core four. However, Crosby's deal ends in 2024-2025 after that season. Malkin's ends in the 2025-2026 season, and Letang's contract ends in the 2027-28 season. Carlson's deal ends before that. So they have a lot of pieces. Question, can they make it back to the dance with Erik Karlsson? He has never been to the Cup Finals. He almost did with San Jose until we know what happened. Lose to St. Louis and St. Louis in the Cup. Speaking of San Jose, they're going to be in the table position because of what they are. Timo Meier got traded, and Erik Karlsson's deal is in the books. And now they have a Ron Hextall type players. Mike Hoffman, Jan Ruda, and Jeff Petrie. Edmonton. How do I say this? Edmonton's going to compete for the playoffs. Cup contender, that's the only question I'm going to have. I'll say they're going to be a cup contender when they fix their goaltending situation. I think Stuart Skinner is the guy, but you signed Jack Campbell to a 5-year deal. And he wasn't great first year. You better fix that. Toronto. How do I say this? You're going to be in the playoffs no matter what, as my team. Question, can they actually make it to the Stanley Cup Finals? That's the biggest question. They have the pieces. They have everything they have. Can they just get over the hump? They won a playoff series. Excellent. Now go win another one. They already have one step. Go for another. Ottawa. They're going to be in a battle for the playoffs. Because this Atlantic is going to be the most toughest. Because not only has Detroit and Ottawa improved, the Buffalo Sabres have improved too. Devin Levi should be the goaltender that should take it to the top. Continue with the youth. Now, Vegas, they're a cup contender, no matter what. The Kraken, that's just going to be tough, but I think they're ready to compete for the Stanley Cup. They're already a playoff contender. Now they just have to bring it all together. St. Louis, this is going to be a tough one. St. Louis was bad and inconsistent last season, and shipping off every player from that Cup final is making them think they're back to square one. The only problem we have is I don't know if they'll be back for playoffs. They may be good and bad, but they have the young core of Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou. And they'll have to figure out a way to get rid of Colin Parayko's contract if they choose to trade him. So they'll be in the same boat as Chicago. It's just they have a young core, and are they good enough to get back to the dance? That's a Tampa Bay. I think they'll be a playoff contender, but last year showed that there was not enough gas in the tank, and it showed how they lost to Toronto in the first round, which I sorry Tampa Bay. They'll be in the battle for the playoffs. I think they'll make it. It's just this Atlantic division is going to be so tough. Like I said in this video, this Atlantic division is going to be the toughest. Vancouver, what can I say? They're going to be in the back consistent. They have to sign Elias Pettersson. That's the only thing they have to figure out. If they do, this team's going to be good. Washington, I'm not so sure they're going to be competing. I think they'll be in the playoffs, but if everything goes to plan, I mean, you already got the new tiers. Carolina, New York, and New Jersey are already part of that tier. Pittsburgh might be part of that, which means Washington's going to be in a battle for the final wild card spot. That is what they're going to be, since wild card and bust. Winnipeg, they could be also in that interior. And with the Connor Hellbuck and Shifley contract expiring after that season, I don't really know what Winnipeg's going to do. Are they going to rebuild? Are they going to be bad and consistent? We don't know. Calgary, they're literally in the same boat. Can go, but the big thing is going to be they trade Tyler Toffoli and they signed Jarko Severich. They don't have enough cap space too. So they're going to compete. I'm not so sure. They may be bad and consistent just because of the whole situation that's hard. With Tyler Toffoli gone, are they going to compete for the playoffs? Not so sure. Nashville. This is going to be cool, but I think they're going to compete. They'll be battling for the playoffs. Along with the Florida Panthers, but seeing as how they did it with Matthew Tkachuk, I think they'll be a playoff contender. Just because this team had a 1 year wonder doesn't mean they'll not be a playoff contender. They have contracts already done. It's not like Vegas. All Vegas had was Riley Smith was traded, and that's it. So there you go. This is my tier list. Comment down below if you think that I should make some changes. But other than that, the 2023-24 season starts in over a month, and have a nice day.